Got something really special that I want to share with you guys today. I picked this firearm up, took a chance on it because it wasn't functioning properly. All it was the screws weren't tight. When I got it home, I tightened it up and everything is functioning on it as it's supposed to. I know I'm squeezing the trigger on the gun, but as you squeeze the trigger with the loading gate pulls to the rear, you squeeze the trigger, it makes the cylinder rotate. That's how you load and unload the firearm, and that's how you check it for clear also. Swiss made 1882 revolver. When I saw this thing, I thought it was absolutely beautiful. I kept thinking about it, went home, did a little research on it, and I thought, where am I ever going to find this again? Run across one in this great shape. Granted, it had some issues, wasn't quite functioning, but I didn't know whether it was broke or not, and you guys know how I like to tinker and mess with stuff, so I was going to give it a try on fixing it. Now, let's take a quick peek at this gun here. It is a beautiful gun, and originally this piece was straw color, this was straw color, this was straw color, and I believe the piece right here. It looks like through the years, maybe it got cleaned or polished, and the straw color has come off of it. And straw color is just where you heat up the steel enough to make it turn kind of a yellow golden color. Let's just take a quick look at this revolver. It shoots a 7.5 out of it. Can you believe they actually had a box of ammo with this 7.5 stuff? Now this thing was not a very effective firearm. This round's only moving about 600 lineal feet per second. Also in my research, I was told it would shoot a 32 long. So I've got some 32 long here, and we're going to try to pass some 32 long through it. Now let's talk about the gun just a little bit here. So it's a double action and single action revolver on it. Look at the hammer spur on this thing. Isn't that just crazy sticking out there? And if you want to load it, you pull the loading gate down. So you pull the trigger and the cylinder rotates so that you can get rounds in it. To unload the gun, you would lift up here. This piece comes up. Now that you've got your loading gate open, you just push this to the rear. It comes all the way through here to push your shell casings out. You push it back forward, lock it back down. So technically you would push one out, push this forward, pull the trigger to get to the next round, push the casing out, go back, pull the trigger. Isn't that crazy? You should never have your finger on the trigger, right? Always safety. But with this firearm with the loading gate back, the trigger is disengaged and won't work. You try to pull the trigger, it only spins the cylinder. You flip the loading gate back up, and now your hammer's going to work on your firearm. Now, if you'll notice here, there is a number on each part on this gun. Swiss put a number all over it. Let's take a look at this. They put one screw on the side here. If I undo that screw, let's pull it all the way out. It's pinned in, so it's not going to fall out. So if a soldier was in the field and he needed to clean his gun or work on it, he could use a piece of casing, brass, whatever he could find. And let me turn this way with this gun, if I can get up here a little bit where you guys can see. Now that we took that screw out, we just open it up from the side, and there's all the internal workings of the firearm. Each piece inside here has a number on it. That way, if a soldier in the field needed to strip this gun, he could take it apart by numbers and then put it back together by the numbers again, close it back up, and tighten this screw up, and it's ready to go again. Isn't that beautiful? We just tighten this back down, and now the gun's ready to be used again. The gun's got a beautiful wooden grip on it here. Just the overall design and look of this gun is just gorgeous, I think. I just had to have the firearm After I saw it and did a little research on it, I just knew that this was going to be one for my collection. Let's take a look at the bottom of it right here. So there was a leather case made to go with it. All of them had this opening in the bottom, and you would slide a metal piece in there that was on your leather case, and then a guy riding a horse could shoulder this. It was the first shoulder brace for a pistol, and you would ride your horse and fire your gun as you were riding along using that shoulder brace. I don't think they made that many of them. What I'm looking at, maybe 100 or so. Few of them survived. They're around $3,500 to get your hands on the shoulder brace. So I won't have a shoulder brace for mine, but all the guns came with the bottom made to accept that shoulder brace. The Swiss kept really good records. You can see on the side of the firearm here, I don't know if I can zoom in enough for you guys to read that, but there's some serial number, some markings. There's an M on the firearm here. So M tells us this gun was made around the 1920s, and it tells you who actually test fired the gun and put that stamp on it. Now when you look at the stamp, if it's just got serial numbers on it, it was used in the military. If there's a P in front of those serial numbers, the same size as the numbers, then it means this gun was made for civilian use for the general public, sold to the public. These were decommissioned late 60s, 70s, and they stamped a P on the side right here. They stamped a P and they put the date. That's when they decommissioned the gun, and then it got sold to the general public. If you find one without a P in either position, then that means one of the officers in the military took his firearm home and just kept it. It's made its way to the US, gotten sold through the years, and now I am the proud owner of this firearm. I wish I had some history on it and knew the soldier that had it and could track it back that far and the family that brought it over to the US. But I couldn't get any of that info. I couldn't backtrack on the gun at all. The place I bought it from would not give me any information on the seller, nor would they contact the seller and give them my information so they could call me and get me started in the background. So I'm basically at a dead end with the firearm. But it's beautiful. It is like a work of art. Let's put some ammunition in this thing and let's shoot it and see how accurate it is. So let's use some of the ammo that came with the gun. One, I was crazy, and then we got to pull the trigger to put the next round in it. 2, 6 rounds. So we got our 6 rounds in it. So here we go. First shots on this thing. So here we go. We'll cock it. We're going to do our first shot with it. So let's unload this thing. So loading gate's back. Let's push one out. 1, squeeze the trigger. 2, squeeze the trigger. 3, squeeze the trigger. 4, 5, 6, and 6. So we are unloaded. Let's put that back down. Fairly accurate at close distances. I'm 10 yards away with that target, and just kind of all around the center there with this thing. But let's try some of this 32 long Colt. I mean, it goes in pretty easy. Slips right in there. When I measured it, it was actually a little bit smaller than the factory round, that 7.5 round. So here we go. Let's give it another try here. 3. Push our round back out. Next one, push it out. Pop that down. Let's just double check it, make sure all the rounds are out of the gun, completely unloaded. So the firearm is unloaded and clear. The casings, you can see the casings kind of distorted there a good bit from the original ones. Where is one of the original casings at? So here's a 7.5 casing and a 32 long casing. They both work really well in the gun, no problem shooting the firearm with it. They're all shooting high left, these 32 longs, but for the age of the gun, it's one of those things where the sights are what they are. You can see how tiny those sights are on this firearm. You can adjust it, so as the shooter, you learn how your sights operate and where it impacts, and then you adjust your sights on your target so that you impact where you want to. But a beautiful gun, a piece of history here, and I'm actually proud to own this gun, and I've enjoyed it. Many evenings sitting researching it, messing around with it, looking at the history of it. When they went to these octagon barrels in it, they went from 3mm to 4mm on the top. If you get an older one that has the 3mm thickness up here, they say don't shoot any modern ammo in it. The gas may split the top and cut it, cause it to crack and comes loose. This version has the thicker, I don't know what this piece is called on the firearm, but the top is thicker on this one. It's the 4mm. So this one is safe to shoot with this modern 32 long ammo. And these are Fiyoshi. Fun gun, nice piece of history to own and save and pass on. Maybe one day my daughter will get into guns and she'll think these are cool too and want to hang on to them. You just never do know. But don't push your responsibility as an adult off onto a child. Buy gun locks and gun safes. Till next time, folks, take care.